Hello again, gamers and gamettes, and welcome back to another episode of Not So Hardcore Gaming. Today, I have with me a close friend of mine, Ben.
My name is Ben Borlo, and I am an Xbox gamer of all sorts. You know, just trying to have the fun of the game.
Beautiful. Today, we're going to be discussing Grand Theft Auto 5. We're going to talk a little bit about it. This is going to be an episode where Ben will be on for the first time, and we wanted to try something with it. So I hope you'll enjoy, and let's get into it. So to begin, we'll talk very slightly about the story. Now, the story of Grand Theft Auto is relatively simple, as it has been for many previous games. What you're doing is just trying to become a successful criminal. You know, you do heists, you do missions to help make money. That's as simple as it is. And you go through the game doing several different missions, and you know, whatever is relevant, whatever helps with money, that sort of thing. You do a bit of everything.
Talk about, pretty much when you're doing heists, you can make a bit of money when you do the setups, this and that.
And another thing about it, you can choose multiple ways to do a heist or a certain mission, which is good. It gives you an extra way to do things. You can replay the game, that sort of thing. And it doesn't have an effect on the story itself, but it adds a bit of spice to it.
Yeah, like cooking. When you're cooking in the kitchen, for example, you're trying to make a cool thing, you know?
So we won't talk too heavily on the story. We don't want to go too far into it. We don't want to spoil things, so we'll very quickly move on from that, and we're just going to talk about the characters. So we're going to talk about a couple of the characters now. To start with, we'll talk about Michael. Now, Michael is a family man. You know, he's a husband and a father, and he had previously gotten out of the business, as you call it. He didn't want to rob places anymore, which is understandable. But through the story, he's dragged back into that world, and he has to start these things all over again. So he sort of acts as a guidance in a way.
Yeah, he does actually act like a guide. He's not really the man who's in it for the money. He's just doing it because the FIB tells him to do it, you know.
It's not just the FIB. There's other things that make him have to return to that, and
if he doesn't, his family is threatened, basically.
Well, yeah, but as I said, so he wanted to get out of business. He can't. He's back in, and he becomes a mentor to the next character we're going to talk about, which is Franklin. Franklin grew up in the hood, as you could expect. He's very small time. When he starts, he works for just a guy with a car shop, and they repossess the cars. You see him still committing crimes, but he's not making much for it. And when he meets Michael, that's when he gets into the bigger game, and as Michael becomes a mentor for him and teaches him how to do it.
He teaches Michael how to get into the criminal lifestyle and be a successful thief in a way. And he's trying to teach him. He's trying to teach Franklin how to be a successful criminal, just so Michael can get out of the criminal lifestyle of being a heist thief, or, you know, of being a thief in a way. and he wants to become a free man. But just being dragged in by Trevor,
So on that, another character is Trevor. Now, Trevor and Michael do have a past. They were running together back when Michael was still a part of the game. But Trevor, Michael didn't want to be around him. Trevor is very much a psychopath. He's not a good guy. He's good at being a criminal, but he's a very dangerous man, and that's part of why Michael got out of the game. And through the game, you see them reunite, and they go run again together. They commit more crimes. They become part of a gang again, and you watch that happen. Michael still wants to get out, but there's that history. It adds to the story of the game quite a bit. Trevor's character itself, he's not supposed to be likable, and they do a good job of doing that.
Yeah. Like Jeremy was saying, Trevor is not like a likable person. He's a psychopath, creep, all that, blah blah blah. He's more of a, like he says, he's more of a successful thief, but not a likable person you want to be around. So Michael is trying to get away from this psychotic man so he can get out of being a thief.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the three main characters, and they're the playable characters. With them, you've got a few other main characters, or I guess semi-main, ones that you can't play as, but play a big role in the story. One of those is Lamar. Now, Lamar is Franklin's childhood friend. He's doing the same sort of thing Franklin is at the start of the game, at least. And he wants to still be good friends with Franklin. Franklin tries to move on to bigger, better things, but, Lamar isn't, or I guess he doesn't want to still be with Lamar. He wants to move on from his childhood, and that does play a big part of the story. So, it's good for the story. It definitely is really good for the story to have that kind of relationship. And yeah, Lamar's character for me, I can find him a bit irritating, but at the same time, watching his relationship with Franklin, it is a really good thing. I do really quite like it. Yeah.
I do reckon Lamar and Franklin had a good relationship, but I get that he's trying to get out of their relationship, and
it's not so much the relationship. He's trying to get out of the hood.
He doesn't want to be a thug no more. He just wants to be a normal. He just wants to be an everyday heist. Being heist and stuff.
He wants to go for bigger game.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like heist.
He wants to move on to bigger, better things, make more money, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I
can understand it. And as I said, watching his relationship with Lamar is quite good, quite enjoyable. So, the other main character in terms of one that, for example, like Michael's family, they wouldn't be considered main characters. This one helps you in the heists. It's Lester. Lester is part of Michael and Trevor's old gang. That he was the plans man. He's a likable character for me. I do quite like his character. He's very smart. He's still obviously a criminal, but he's good about it. He really knows what he's doing, and I quite like the way that he's written. And again, having him there helps to elaborate on more of Michael and Trevor's old relationship. It adds quite a bit to the essence of the story, having him there.
One thing you want to know well, so no, but the one thing about Lester, he's the criminal mastermind of the whole heist operations, and he's a funny guy in a way of explaining things, this and that. And I really like this character. Because of the way he acts in situations like this and that. But then he's one of the guys that you don't want to stuff up a heist, because if you stuff up a heist with him, you get the lecture from him.
Yeah, but because it is a game, obviously, you stuff up, you just go straight back to a checkpoint. So it's not one that will affect the story if you fail. So it's just sort of fair, like, little remarks about it.
Yeah.
Those are the most important characters for it. That's the ones that revolve around the main characters, and they do the heist together, that sort of thing. So we'll move on now. Moving on, we're going to talk about the audio and visual. This is one of the most important things when it comes to any game. Is it has to sound good, it has to look good. If it doesn't sound or look good, it just feels slightly wrong when you're playing it. You notice, that's really just doesn't look good, and it bugs you. When it comes to this game, there isn't anything particularly bad about it that I've noticed myself. The audio, there are a bunch of different cars that all have different sounds. All different types of weapons with different sounds. The voices of the actors, they're good. They do show a good amount of emotion. They're acted well. There isn't really anything I can say especially doesn't sound good about the game.
I haven't really noticed much different sorts of noises, but the one thing I've noticed about the sniper rifle, if you got a silencer, even if you accidentally miss, they still hear you.
Yeah, that is one thing I have noticed. But that's more of a gameplay thing. It's not too bad, but in terms of just the sound itself, when you do have silencers, it does at least sound different when you're shooting.
Yeah, but that's the one thing
even if it doesn't affect. Well, yeah, even if it doesn't affect gameplay, it sounds different, which is how it's supposed to, because there's a silencer. It's not supposed to be as loud, and it works in terms of what it actually sounds like. Now, along with that, the visuals. Now, the city is beautiful. There is a lot in the city. It's got rivers, not rivers, ocean the whole way out. You've also got the difference between when you're in the middle of the city and in the country where there's very little there. There's a good contrast between the two. You've got the desert where it's very barren, very little plant life, very few buildings. The contrast is really good, and it's really fun to just see it change while you're driving.
And also, in the desert, you got more industry areas, like not so much like building industries, but like mining industries, more power industries and all that in the outback. So, and then more farms in a way too. So you got this and that, but this is before Sandy Shores Airfield.
Yeah, well, there's sort of that little zone, and as well as that, it's got mountains in it, which is a really nice detail.
Yeah,
and it's really fun trying to climb up the mountain or to drive
over
up.
them.
Yeah,
I like driving up the mountains. It's pretty fun.
And if you don't want to drive up there, you've got a car, a little rail car, which goes up to the top. Which is good fun.
I haven't been on that.
And then, another thing that's really fun is trying to go down the mountain in a car without crashing, like on a bike. It's really fun, and the mountain looks good, and it does add.
It's fun, but if you do it in real life, it'll be super scary.
Yeah, definitely. But in terms of the audio and visual, beautiful looking game for me. Really good sounding.
Gameplay.
There's not a hell of a difference between the Xbox 360 and Xbox One. That the generation difference isn't particularly big. Like, it doesn't change the visuals much at all.
Just like talking about the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, not really much either.
Yeah, it's sort of, it doesn't change enough to be that noticeable, but in either of them, it is a really good looking game and sounds really good. So there are definitely no complaints
so far they sound good.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on to gameplay now. There are a few different aspects of gameplay for this. Firstly, you've got on foot. Now, on foot you can run, you can roll around, you can use all your weapons. Weapons are a big thing as well. There are several different classes of weapons, and for each type of weapon you can hold several different variations of it. So you've got things like pistols, you've got SMGs, assault rifles, sniper rifles, rocket launchers. You've got your melee weapons.
Shotguns.
You've got a few different classes of them, and each of them will affect the gameplay differently, as you would expect. As I said, like shotguns,
sticky bombs, grenades.
Yeah, like when you use shotguns, it's for when you're up close to the enemies. But then you can, in the click of your fingers, you can just change to a sniper rifle and go long range. It really gives you a lot of freedom when you're using weapons.
Just do what you want.
Yeah, exactly. For me, when it comes to it, probably, oddly enough, I think I use pistols more than anything. I find that a good thing. You can just, fire off one shots, aim. Really fun.
I prefer using assault rifles and stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of, as I said, it gives you freedom for it, and you can choose your favorite weapon and just use that constantly. It's really well done. And as like using sniper rifles, I also find that to be very fun because you can take the time with it. You can be very accurate with it. There's a lot of freedom just in terms of weapons alone.
Except briefing.
Yeah, that's different. So as the weapons, that aspect of the gameplay is really fun. Then obviously you have your vehicles as part of your gameplay. You can fly around in helicopters or planes. You can just drive a normal car, or you can go on a boat. It gives you the freedom to travel however you wish to travel. And that is always a fun thing, is having the freedom to use pretty much any vehicle you find to get around however you want and to have a lot of fun out of it. Yeah.
Even with your planes and stuff, you can fly a plane, any sort of plane, except for military. That's different. You can fly any sort of stunt plane. You can fly your helicopters. Any sort of vehicle you can get into.
And as well as that, like when you're flying a plane, there's certain things you can do while in the plane. Like, for example, you fly under bridges.
For example, roll over too.
Yeah, you can do stunts in the planes. There's even a flight school where that's actually part of the missions, is using them. They get a lot out of the vehicles you use. There's a lot to do in them. Yeah. And it's really well fleshed out, really well done. The gameplay for this game is very fun. It's accurate. It had a lot of work put into it, and it's really, really enjoyable.
And the favorite thing about talking about the flight school here, the favorite thing about the flight school I liked was when Michael was doing in the flight school when Trevor has told him, you're going to need to do some flying lessons. Well, the one thing I liked about doing was he doing the, what do they call it, the knife
flight.
Yeah, knife
where
flight.
You fly on your side to the buildings.
I liked that, but the only problem is you had to, you have to keep straight, obviously, and then you have to, move the plane up with the tilts, or otherwise you'd be going into the water.
It's challenging and really, really fun.
That's what makes the stunts unique. Is it's challenging. It's not easy. It's supposed to be challenging, so it gives you a chance. So it gives you an idea of what it would be like in real life.
Yeah, a relatively simple idea. And as I said, it really does add a lot to the game. And there's nothing I can really critique here. It all feels good to me. And there's very little I can see them improving. So back onto, again, another aspect of the gameplay is the weapons. We've already talked briefly about it, but the biggest aspect for it is you can upgrade your weapons. You can change scopes, add silencers, clip extensions, everything. So you can make them a lot more effective, a lot more damaging. And again, it's another thing to spend your money on. When you have, towards the end of the game, $100 million if you do things right, there's a lot to spend them on, so you can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And as I said, it is a really good aspect to have.
Silence your shotgun.
Well, yeah, I see. You can do all of that, and it will affect the gameplay, though very slightly. It's just more to evolve how you play, and again, thoroughly enjoy it. The weapon system in every way is really well done.
Yeah, so just to make it fun.
Yeah, definitely. So, as another part of the game that we did just mention, the vehicles. Again, there are a lot of different vehicles in it. You've got your main classes, the boats, the planes, or the cars. But there are a lot of variations of different brands, that sort of thing. And when it comes to the cars, you can't upgrade your flying vehicles in the base game, but the cars you can. You can upgrade all their stats. You can modify what they look like in every way. Yeah.
Actually, you can modify your military vehicles, but
in online mode, not in the story mode.
Yeah. But
that is another aspect. It's online mode, which we will talk about later, but in terms of the base game itself, as I said, there's a lot of vehicle customization. You can upgrade your cars. You can make them, you can add decals, colors, that sort of thing. There is it's again another, again, it's another thing you can spend your money on, and it does affect the gameplay slightly differently as well. It's just another aspect which evolves it a bit and can be quite
in
fun.
whatever gameplay you want to do, pretty much.
Yeah, I love to go and get a fast car, upgrade it to the max, and just blare down the street having fun.
Yeah.
The vehicle customization and the vehicles as a general thing, they sound good, they feel good, everything about them is really enjoyable.
And plus you want to play the game that you want to play. Yeah, it's always fun to play it a way that people make it, but then sometimes it's fun to also play it the way you want to play it, in a way, if you want to play it.
Yeah, and this game gives you a lot of freedom for that. Very, very well done indeed.
Affects you in the game.
The next, and probably the final gameplay aspect itself, is the stats. So I think this is one that has been through every previous game as well, and is less impactful in terms of this game itself, this iteration. The stats that you have, for example, you have stamina, driving skill, you've got the special skill, you've got flying skill, and I think sneaking and shooting. So you've got a few different skills which will affect the gameplay differently. For example, when you max out your stamina stat, you can run infinitely. You never run out of stamina, and that does affect it very slightly. Then you've got, for example, your breathing, where you can go underwater in this, and you have lung capacity, which when you up it, you can stay underwater for longer, that sort of thing. When you're flying, if you've maxed it out, you don't get affected by winds pushing your plane up and down, which you do get affected by when your skill is lower. So as it's relatively minor, and it gives you a reason to continue building up those skills, and it adds a really fun element to it.
Oh, yeah. Also, if you're really low level, it's also good to extend your skills and go as far, let's just say, to continue into the skills and skill up, and it also helps you in the missions and all this and that, just to just to get a little bit better. But the only problem when doing it is also hardens the missions even more in a way. Like, it makes your gameplay a little bit harder to play. But
yeah, when you have lower skills.
But again, it's not about that. It's not about making the game harder. It's about making the game the way you want to play it and the way you feel like you want to play it. So be it if it makes it harder, but in a way, if it's the way you want to play it, it's completely up to you. I
mean, the stats themselves, the better the stats are, the easier it is. But as I said, whenever you get a game like this and you look at all the different aspects of the gameplay, as I said, like different weapons makes the gameplay more free. Yeah. You've got the different vehicles makes it more free. When you combine everything together, it gives you so much to do in the game.
Exactly.
And the stats just add that extra little bit into it to change it. Just that little bit extra to make it more fun.
Yeah.
And it's a relatively simple thing.
It's just so
huge.
It's just so that you don't get bored easily. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's something extra to do.
Like how.
So the next bit is visual customization. Very, very basic stuff here. As I said, it's only visual. It doesn't affect anything else. For your characters, you can get haircuts. So if you have a character and you want to give them a beard, you can do that. Like, for example, with Michael, I always give him slightly longer hair and a beard. And, it's just visual. It makes it look good. It's that extra little bit.
Yeah, I haven't really done that with my characters. I don't even care what they look. I just want them to look normal. I don't really care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's no need to, but it gives you the option if you can.
I've done it with Michael's main car. I pretty much modified his whole car.
Yeah.
Changed the colour, modified the engine to the max, like you were talking about before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got that, but you can customize the characters themselves.
Yeah.
So as I said, you can...
Yeah.
You can change the haircut, that sort of thing. You can add tattoos. You go... Michael, if you want a chest tattoo, it gives you options for chest tattoo.
Michael with a tattoo.
Yeah, it gives you the option. You can have them fully, as many tattoos
Travel
as you
with
want.
a tattoo.
Yeah, like I said, you can give them as many as you want.
Imagine Franklin with one of those Thug Life tattoos. Oh, that would be so sick.
I don't know, that may be an option. I don't play as Franklin much. I tend to main as Michael.
I like Franklin. He's pretty cool.
And after that, you can change clothes. There are several... there are 3 different clothes shops which do different types of clothes. So you can go just...
Isn't the mission one? Because you can buy clothes and stuff from them too.
From Ammunition. Yeah, you can. You can get hunting gear from them. But there's 3 main clothes shops.
I can't figure out names.
And my personal favourite is you can get suits from them. So I will always go and buy the best looking suit,
Mm.
and then I'll have like Michael decked out with a suit, the watch, the fancy glasses, hair all done up, and it's just, again, it's just visual. It's a little bit of fun. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but you can change to any amount of clothes, and if you buy all the clothes you can afford, you can be wearing anything at any time. There is a huge amount of customization.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't matter if you buy all the clothes. You can also there's a lot to do with all the clothes. You can wear them like whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like for example, you can wear whatever clothes. You can make yourself look like a hood member or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just the way you want to play.
Yeah,
I could do that with story mode, but I prefer to do that with online and all that. It's just the way I like to do,
Yeah, exactly. And on that topic, because we've talked about everything else, the final thing we're going to talk about is online mode. Now, we're not going to go too in depth. There's not really a story with it. All the online mode just gives you a chance to play with other people. You can do very similar missions to what you do now, in the game itself, or you can do just extra custom missions. There's a lot of freedom there. Yeah, there are heists for it. And as I said, it's just more things to do. You design your own character, you play with other people, and you can do races, you can do anything really.
You can start role plays with each other.
Well, that is slightly different. You can join Facebook groups and you can talk through it. You can
even join Discord.
Yeah, it's a good way to socialize if you really want to. It adds a lot more freedom. It's more to do. If you like the gameplay but you've gotten sick of the story, you go online and there is so much to do that you can be doing it all day.
And the problem with me, I've gotten so attached to the online part that I haven't even completed the story. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything about the game that we can say.
We could talk about like jets and all that.
Well, we have.
In my favorite in the online, my favorite jet is the Hydra, because you know how there's a Hurley's jump jet. You know how there's the jump jet.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty much like that. You can hover like a helicopter, fly this and that. It's my favourite jet,
Yeah, so that's again. There are even more vehicles online. As I said, there are a lot of vehicles. When you go online, there are even more to do. But yeah, like we've spoken about that. We've said everything we can. So just to put it simply, this is a really well done game. There's been a lot of work put into it. There is a lot to do. That's about everything we can talk about. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for coming on, Ben.
You're welcome, Jeremy. Anytime.
And I hope you all enjoyed it. And with that, this is Not So Hardcore Gaming. I'm Jeremy. This has been Ben.
Thank you.
And see you later.